great aunt. She's one of my grandmother's younger sisters. But she's just a lot. She worked as a secretary for years. She had one kid. But she's an expert on everything because she had 2 rich husbands she married and they died. And she decided because she had been left some money and had some money, she was smart. She thought having money made her smart. And just some of the stuff she used to do. Like one time, she went to my mom. My mom was a librarian. And she said, hey, I'm trying to get some leather books. And my mom's like, okay. What are you looking for? Are you looking for like a certain type? No, just want some leather books. She didn't want a particular book. She just wanted some leather books to look good in her house and show how smart she was by having leather books. And anytime we did something smart or made good grades, she'd say, well, you take after me. And she meant it. She was never joking. And she was just always a lot. Like, my grandmother never had much money. But whenever she gave her a gift, she'd brag about how much it cost, how much it was, which to me is kind of tacky. I don't like that sort of thing. And everything of hers was always worth more. She had this old golf cart that had 4 flat tires, dusty as hell, the leather was coming apart, just looked awful. It needed a lot of TLC. She wanted $5,000 for it. And couldn't understand why she couldn't get that kind of money. And then another time she had a car, and it ended up becoming my car. And she told me, she's like, y'all can have it for $2,000. And we thought about it, and then she changed her tune when we went to buy it. She's like, $2,500. I was like, no, you said $2,000. And because she sold us that car, whenever she needed a favor, my grandmother would try to guilt me into helping her. She sold you her car. Yeah, at fair market value. She didn't give me the brother-in-law prize. We didn't do the family discount because that gets exhausting after a while. And then she always had their grandson that would come visit. And I liked him okay. I talk to him occasionally now. He's a few years younger than me. But he'd come stay with her, and she'd want to pawn him off on me to hang out with him. And I'd try sometimes, but he was a little pain in the ass. I couldn't stand him. His favorite thing to do was to wait until you were looking or not looking and punch you as hard as he can in your nuts and think it was so funny. And one time he pissed me off, so I slammed him on the ground, and he cried for like 2 days. But that got old. Every time she needed a favor or needed something moved, oh, you gotta help her. You gotta help her. She sold you her car. That's not how things work. Just because somebody sold you something. But I mean, the way entitled customers carry on, I'm surprised somebody hadn't bought something at Walmart and then went back in and you sold me this stuff, so you got to help me move. Thanks, Walmart. And her house was just full of like knickknacks to make her look important. She wore fake fur. But the thing that irritated my dad, he's like, she claims to have all this money and does, but she clips coupons. So she's still cheap. Because one time my dad got strawberries and it was $10 to pick your own, and I think $15 for them to pick for you. And she's like, I can't believe you paid that much to pick strawberries. And this one's my favorite. My dad used a financial advisor, financial planner, whatever you want to call it. And he told my grandmother that's where he was going. And my great aunt got wind of the one she used. And she's like, no, you don't need to use him. You need to use somebody else. Because I'm an expert in financial matters. You need to use a different financial advisor. He's cheap. You don't know it like I do. My dad's, for all I've said about him, he's pretty financially savvy. Even now, he has no debt, has plenty of money for retirement. So the fact that someone that just inherited their money was going to tell him his business. He didn't appreciate it, but we were all too well brought up to ever say anything to her. Now, my cousin just steadfastly would refuse to deal with her. Like, it got to where if she was at my grandmother's house, people they wouldn't go. Just because they didn't want to deal with her obnoxious name dropping. And then another time, she went by my grandmother's house. This was 2008. They're talking about who they're going to vote for, and they're old country folks from the middle of nowhere, so you can guess what her affiliation is. And she said, I want to vote for McCain because if we get him, we get Sarah Palin, and she knows what she's doing. Lost what little respect I had for her then. She was just an awful cook, but she thought she could cook and all this other stuff, and she's just a generally exhausting person, probably even more annoying than somebody that lies all the time. Just always, she hadn't worked in 20 years, didn't know how to look for a job, but wanted to tell me this is what I needed to do. Oh, you need to pound the pavement. Like when I was looking for a job, yeah, when you were looking for a job in the 1950s, and there were plenty of jobs in a good economy, you could do that. But that's not how it works now. But she wasn't having it. No, that's what I needed to do. And my grandma was like, oh, you need to listen to her. But why? So just remember, if you have being lucky and benefiting from good luck does not make you smart. It just makes you lucky. And too many people like her attribute what is, in all reality, luck and good timing to them just being smart.